I don't think I can hear you. How's everybody doing? Okay, there we go. Let's definitely give a hand to Mr. Owens for being one of the greatest principals in the country. I'm really excited to be here today because I really believe that you all are not the leaders of tomorrow, the leaders of the future. I believe that you're the leaders of today. From my understanding, this is truly one of the most impactful schools as far as your vision, preparing you for leadership. I think that's the most important thing in the world, is to really build and launch the next generation of the world's solutions. Because how many of you would agree that the world needs some solutions and needs some help? Let me see your hands. Okay, that's everybody. So, as you put your hands up, you also have to ask yourself, what are you going to do with your hands? Are you going to use them to be the next doctor, attorney, biochemist, social worker, entertainer? What are you going to use those hands for? Are you going to use those hands to maybe feed the homeless? I've been the spokesman for the National Coalition for the Homeless for the past 5 years. I also am the spokesman for what's called the National Marrow Donor Program, where we go after individuals and try to educate them on the need to donate bone marrow, because a lot of people are dying from cancer every day. How many of you know the rapper Nelly? Well, his sister, he lost her because she had a form of blood cancer. And it's one of the most treatable cancers, which is called leukemia, because if you give your bone marrow, a sample of it, to someone else, you can save someone's life. So I'm saying that to say it's important to give back. A lot of people talk about the fact that I made my first million at the age of 14. How many of you heard that? And being 25, I'll be 26 next month. By God's grace, I'm worth quite a few more millions than I was. But I believe that the reason for my success is because, and if you want to find what God really puts you here to do, I think it's important to realize that the two most important times for everybody, no matter how old you are, is to find out why you were born, and of course, we all know when you were born. So to find out why you were born is the most important thing. Why do I say that? I had a guy, old guy, not too old, let me be careful. He was about 75, a little over 75 years old. He called and he actually started cussing at me. He did. He said, because I'm sure you guys have heard that it's all about hard work. He said, Farrah, you know, I heard that it's all about hard work. And if you work hard, you'll be successful. I'm 75 years old and I've been working on my life. And I was a customer. That's why I didn't cuss. So he said, I've been working on my life. And why is it that you have money? I'm 75 years old and all I do is work. I get up, I go to work. I work so hard. Why is it that I'm not rich? I said, because you have to find what God puts you here to do. I said, what did God put you here to do? To me, the richest place in the world is not where you find diamonds or gold or the bank. It's the cemetery. Why do I say that? Because so many people are so brilliant, so smart. They have such great ideas. They could paint like Picasso or Jacob Lawrence. They could write books, but they never did because they wouldn't live their dreams. How many of you have a dream? Beautiful. And I want to talk to you about your dream because I believe that dreaming is the most important thing. And the reason why I'm also here today is because you have to live out your dream. I had a teacher, I'll never forget it. I was 6 years old. And my teacher, I didn't have a school and a program like this that I had access to. I grew up in the Robert Taylor Project. I grew up very poor. You know, so poor that most people who slept on the floor with rats and roaches, so when you see, you know, a rat or a roach, what do? You scream, ah, it's a rat. For us, it was like, move over, we just have to go to sleep. But that's just how it was for us, but I continued to dream. So my teacher told me, I never forget, I was 6 years old, and I told her I was going to be a millionaire one day, and she looked at me, she said, no, you're not. She said, you're poor, and your family's poor. So you better go work at McDonald's. So, I remember going home to my grandmother, and I learned one of the most important lessons in the world. My grandmother, I came to her, I said, Grandma, I said, the teacher told me that I'm not really, that I won't be an entrepreneur. Is that true? Am I really not smart enough? And she looked at me and she said, listen, she said, don't let anybody ever tell you that you cannot be successful in life. She said, wake up every morning and say, why not me? She said, if you want millions, if you want a mansion, she said, if you want to end the homelessness, wake up every morning and say, why not me? Because you have to ask yourself, why can't you do it? So on the count of three, I want everybody to say, why not me? 1, 2, 3.
Why not me?
There we go. So that was what I always woke up every morning. I said, why not me? Why can't I dream big? Why can't I do these things? And my teacher recently, she called and she cussed me out because I put her name in my book. Because I wanted everybody to know who she was and she couldn't crush anyone else's dreams. And that's when I began to learn, as one of the greats of our time once said, that you should never allow anyone's perception of you to become your reality. So I want to ask you all a question. Do you know what it really takes to be extremely successful? It takes 3 important things. What do you think it takes? Courage. Wow. I like that. I'm going to take questions in just a second. We're going to stick with that for right now. It does take courage. There was an 8-year-old who was in art class and he was drawing a picture. His art teacher asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm drawing a picture of God. His art teacher said, little boy, no one knows what God looks like. But he had a dream. He kept drawing, looked up at it and said, everybody will know what God looks like.